Is Donald Trump about to kill democracy in the USA? It's a question that has to be asked, because Trump's one big, beautiful bill act, which is his budget bill, which right now is in front of the House of Representatives in the US Congress, does include a clause which could literally destroy US democracy. Now, that's illogical, of course. A budget bill should not include a provision that kills democracy, but this one does, because Trump is in a hurry to get laws passed that give him ultimate power in the USA. And that's what he's doing with this budget clause. And it's so important that I'm going to read it. It says, "No court of the United States may use appropriated funds to enforce a contempt citation for failure to comply with an injunction or temporary restraining order if no security was given when the injunction or order was issued." Now, that sounds a bit like gobbledygook, and in a very real sense it is. But what it really means is this: no federal court in the USA may enforce a contempt action, and that's because they would need to use federal funds to do that, and they're being denied the right to use funds for that purpose. And what that means is that if a court ruled that what Donald Trump is doing is illegal, and he then ignores them, which he has been doing, there will in the future be nothing at all that the court can do to enforce its ruling, because it won't have access to the funds to do anything about what Trump is up to. It follows then, quite simply and quite straightforwardly, that if this piece of legislation, which looks like a budget provision, but which is actually driving a stake through the heart of US democracy, is going to give Trump exactly what he wants, this innocuous-looking clause puts him above the rule of law in the USA. It effectively makes him King Donald. This is the end of the arrangements of constitutional balance that were meant to prevent abuse within the administration of US government. This is, in fact, the end of constitutional law, because this is not constitutional, but Congress plans to pass it. And in that case, this means the end of democracy in the USA as it has been known, imperfect as it has been. Trump can, if this law is passed, pursue who he wants, break any law that he wants, imprison anyone he wants, expel anyone he wants. And there will be nothing a court can do to stop him, because even if they rule that what he does is unlawful, he can ignore them, knowing that they will have no power to actually enforce their decision. As Robert Reich, the noted commentator on US current affairs, has put it, with this single provision, Trump will have crowned himself king. No Congress and no court could stop him. Even if a future Congress were to try to stop him, it could not do so without the power of the courts to enforce their hearings, investigations, subpoenas and laws. So in other words, this doesn't only stop the courts from interfering with what Trump wants to do, it actually completely neuters Congress as well. So what then? If the midterm elections reject Trump, he can ignore what Congress says. This law will let him do that. So what if he suspends elections, in fact, and the courts object? He can do that, because there is nothing that the courts could do to